is the WWE Superstar Roman Reigns, the WWE Superstar of the Year.
You're listening to the official Wrestling News Source podcast. For all of your information, go to WrestlingNewsSource.com or check us out on Facebook by searching WrestlingNewsSource.com or WNS Podcast. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, Stitcher, and iTunes by searching Wrestling News Source Podcast or WNS Podcast. Now being broadcast in over 45 different countries, here are your hosts, Daniel Herron, Tyler Abear, and Doug.
That's right. What's up, everyone? I am Daniel Herron.
I'm Tyler Abear.
And we welcome you to episode 280 of the official podcast for WrestlingNewsSource.com. For all of your information, go to WrestlingNewsSource.com. Check us out on Facebook, WrestlingNewsSource.com. You can find us on Facebook, WNS Podcast, on YouTube, WNS Video, and on iTunes, Wrestling News Source Podcast.
You know what?
What?
We are in many places.
Yes, we are.
Like Stitcher, Beyond Pod,
yes,
and Player.fm.
That is correct.
And all you have to do is search Wrestling News Source Podcast to find us.
That is correct. You can also follow us on Twitter at WNS Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at WNS_Daniel. You can follow Tyler on Twitter at Tyler_Abear. So welcome to the show. We have got quite the show for you this week. Plenty to talk about. No Doug, he's still out on vacation, but don't worry, he will be back
Next week.
Next week.
I believe so.
Next week or the following. Somewhere around there. So welcome to the show. Like I said, got plenty to talk about. Would like to say a special thank you to all of our new listeners, because we checked the numbers, and the numbers went up quite a bit over the past week. We have implemented a new player option on the WrestlingNewsSource.com website, so it's right there, front of the page. You cannot miss it. It's got our logo and a big play button, so all you have to do is hit play, and
cool.
You're good to go to listen to the latest episode. But if you feel like listening to us on YouTube or subscribing to our show on iTunes or the other social media sites, you are more than welcome to do so, and we certainly do appreciate it. So just a way of saying thank you for everyone who listened to us over the course of the last week. It's really good stuff. So with that being said, Tyler, how you doing?
I am doing all right.
Yeah?
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm ready to get into the show because we've got all kinds of fun stuff to cover.
Before we get into that stuff, this past weekend I went to Comicpalooza. Ran into our good friend John David Guerra from Nightmare Pro Wrestling. Picked up the awesome NXT Dallas print that he
Very
did,
nice.
And the Shinsuke Nakamura print.
Very nice.
Does great work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's always doing stuff, and like it's cool to know like a wrestling how do I say it? Like a wrestling artist.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what she's
an artist who's a fan of wrestling?
Yeah, he does more than just wrestling, but I mean
he's an artist who happens to be a fan of wrestling.
Yeah,
and
it shows.
Yes.
So
very good work. For all the information on John, go to nightmareprowrestling.com. That's nightmareprowrestling.com.
I saw Doomsday. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Got to see our good friend Tex Lone Star out there.
Tex Lone Star doing
right.
great work over there. And then also Hurricane Pro Wrestling.
Very nice. So all of our buddies being represented at Comicpalooza this year.
Yeah.
Really good stuff. And I know I'm very interested to attend the next Doomsday event because it's supposed to be a murder mystery. So someone's gonna die.
Usually, whoever does like murder mystery stuff, it's entertaining and stuff like that. So I want to know what they're gonna do.
I'm just gonna say right now, prime suspect, Top Banana. That's what I'm gonna go with, unless he's of course the victim. But who knows? We'll see.
Yeah,
we shall see.
Yeah,
I believe it's July 21st at Numbers. So
I thought, was it 21st? I thought it was like 29th or 30th.
Somewhere around there. It's in the later half of July that I believe.
If you get a chance, that is at Numbers Club in
Numbers
Houston.
Nightclub.
Numbers Nightclub.
Yeah. So let me
check out the date.
Yeah. Did you see any celebrities there?
At Comicpalooza, we saw Austin St. John, the original Red Ranger. I mean, I didn't go up to him. I just saw his booths and stuff. And then I forgot her name. The second Yellow Yellow Ranger.
Very cool.
The cast of Boondock Saints. My wife wanted to see one person in particular. That is Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC was there. because former band members are doing this, I guess, cheesy sci-fi horror show together, different from like the 90s. There's AJ McLean from Backstreet Boys, some O-Town. I don't know anything about
98
O-Town.
Degrees. And all
98
that.
Degrees. So they're all there, but they're in that project. Not everyone from the boy bands, just certain ones. But he was a cool dude, down to earth and all that stuff. And he talked to us for a while, so
Nice.
it was pretty cool.
Good stuff. And yes, Doomsday is going to be taking place July 30th. It's a good catch on that. So, all in all, pretty good weekend. Had a lot of fun there. Good stuff. Let's dive into some feedback that we got. The first bit of feedback we have is from Pablo saying, I'm exactly like Tyler. Screw your 9 Undertaker alternate attires. Give me Shinsuke.
That's what I'm talking about. Shinsuke all the way. Shinsuke on the cover of WWE 2K17 and always on the cover until he retires. I'm just saying. Wow.
That's a bold statement.
Okay. Shinsuke and John Cena. Oh, gotcha. We can put John Cena on there.
You're going to have an alternate. Do you think, here's an interesting question. This isn't in our initial subject of discussion, but I would like to run it by you. What are your thoughts of them bringing, since we are going to have the draft, what would be your thoughts on them bringing back SmackDown versus Raw for the video games?
I'm down for it. Like,
I mean,
I was
in the grand scheme of things, there's not a whole lot of difference between the WWE 2K and the SmackDown versus Raw.
But there were some cool features. Like I forgot what the modes were called when that first started, and like you played that, and you could pick whoever you want to be on your roster, but you played as that character. You walked around backstage and stuff. You did the match by card or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, hey, guess what? You went to go talk to your general manager. So it's like, I want to switch the show or whatever, and you can if you meet certain requirements and stuff. And there was different. That was pretty cool in my opinion. Yeah. But you had to play. Is it exit? No, I forgot the story mode. I don't know what that mode was called, but it was cool. You had to pick that character, do certain things, and like if you pick certain other characters, you will see certain characters backstage. You could talk to them, they talk to you for a while, or they start a fight with you, and you can go into the parking garage. You can go here and stuff, and it was just really cool.
Yeah.
But I also liked, because the last few years when they had SmackDown versus Raw, the features weren't that cool. It was like universe mode, but when it got after WrestleMania, you had like where you could what's it called? There was a draft, and that was about it. So they could make it special, do something like that again.
Yeah,
with like the newer graphics.
You have your SmackDown, your Raw, your NXT, and your Legends. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pumped for it.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how that all plays out.
It wouldn't be in 2K17 though.
No, it'd have to be
18.
Yeah, at least 18. Since 17's already been announced. But next bit of feedback we have is from our good friend Jonathan Red Robin.
Yum.
Haven't heard from him in a while, saying, can't wait for this week's show. You guys have a lot to talk about. And yes, we do.
For shizzle.
And we will dive into all of it. We've got Money in the Bank talk. We've got Raw. Lucha Underground? No? Okay.
My bad, guys.
That's okay. No worries. We've got plenty to cover for it as well. The Stone Cold podcast, lots of hot topics, all that good stuff. So, really good episode, I think. Or at least I'm hoping.
Good episode, stuff that's happened just in general.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Looking forward to it. So let's dive into Money in the Bank that took place this past Sunday. They kick off the pre-show with Golden Truth versus Breezango.
I saw a picture because I wasn't there for that match. So what happened? What was wrong with their chests?
Basically,
skin?
On SmackDown on Thursday, Breezango decided to get their tan on, and so they were in a stand-up tanning booth, and they closed it, and R-Truth and Goldust appeared and like cranked up the UV rays to extra crispy apparently, and so whenever they came out, they were burnt to a crisp.
Good Lord, they're trying to kill those guys.
Yeah, they could have given them like skin cancer or something.
Oh my gosh, then people laugh at that shit. That is not funny.
Not funny at all. It's messed up. So Breezango came out and, you know, obviously like spray tan red or whatever. And they had the fake skin that was peeling off. And I mean, at least they sold the injury. Yeah. You know, like every time they'd get a slap or something. God, it hurts. So, I mean, it was fine. Nothing really. I find it rather odd that the good guys cheated in a sense. by.
Does that surprise you in the day we're in with like WWE now?
The booking is so strange now.
It doesn't surprise me.
It's like,
really.
you're a good guy, well, you're going to do bad things. Oh, you're a bad guy, well, you're going to do good things. So, I don't get it. Gold Truth got the win and celebrated like they won the lottery. It's their first big win as a team.
Yay.
They finally beat Breezango and can move on to other things. Although I will say, they did release a pretty funny T-shirt. Have you seen it? It's the style of the movie Step Brothers.
Yeah.
But it's Gold Dust and R-Truth. Like sweater vests and their head on top.
Oh, wow.
It's
Why are you sweaty? I was watching Cops.
Yeah. So Golden Truth ends up getting the victory. The next matchup was Lucha Dragons, Lucha Booties, going up against the Dudley Boys. And we did not give our predictions for this matchup because we didn't find out about it.
I walked into like towards the end of the match, I think, right?
I believe so, yeah. But I think this was announced on SmackDown, and I just didn't catch it in time for our predictions. Nothing really to take away from this matchup. The Lucha Dragons got the win and defeat the Dudley Boys.
It's like we need something for y'all to do, so
We have extra time that we need to fill, and we promised Apollo Crews and Sheamus that they'd get the bump up. Same for Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler. So, yeah. Lucha Dragons get the win. As far as Money in the Bank as a whole, I felt that the first half was so painstakingly long. And then, it picked up in the end. But we'll talk about it now with the opening matchup being the Fatal 4-Way for the tag team titles. New Day going up against Enzo and Cass versus the Club versus the Vaudevillains. I don't know. It started off okay, and then there was miscommunications. There was...
Well, it was the miscommunication between New Day and who? It was...
Well, at the end, it was the New Day and the Club, where Gallows was just standing in the on the side of the ring, looking at Big E, who had one of the Vaudevillains, I think, over his shoulder.
Was that the match
and
where
Big Cass was supposed to take him out or something?
Yeah. Was that the match where I swear it was like who was it that pinned the New Day and it sounded like 1, 2,
Enzo and Cass.
3. I was like, I know that the crowd was saying 3, but I swear I heard a hit.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and
we gotta rewatch it.
Well, no, what it was is the crowd counted to 3 when the ref allegedly was at 2. And that's happened before.
We gotta rewatch it.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and rewatch it because I've seen that a couple times where I think it's 1, but the ref just goes in to slide down and he puts his hand on the mat. Then he comes up for 1, but people are thinking 2.
Oh, gotcha.
So
I was like, oh snap, we got new champions,
mm-hmm.
and they're like, no, and you're like, no. And I was like, what? No, play it back.
Yeah, so it was a near fall. Enzo and Cass almost becoming champions. The crowd certainly thought it was, and the crowd was certainly hot.
Yeah, for sure.
So, props to that to the Las Vegas crowd. But the ending, it was such a cluster. The just I don't know. You have to watch it for yourself in order to really get it. Gallows was standing in the ring, and Cass was supposed to take him out at a particular point, and I guess their timing was off, and so Gallows is standing there looking at Big E, and it was just, I don't know. Or was it Big E? It was someone. He was looking at someone, and yeah. But the New Day, despite all the odds.
Yeah, I did not think they were going to retain.
Yeah. No, I don't think, none of us did, really. I don't think Doug predicted that one. I think he went Enzo and Cass.
So they're going to beat that record.
It's possible, yeah. Unless they decide to do it at
SmackDown.
Yeah. Or unless they decide to do it at Battleground.
Oh.
So, who knows, man? Because at first I was like, well, who on earth could they possibly challenge next? And we found out the answer on Raw, who they're probably going to go up against. But, yeah, kind of surprising to see New Day. I mean, I'm glad because they are entertaining. But it's kind of like, okay, well, who do they really have left to go up against?
I really think this would have been a perfect time for them to lose the titles to someone. That's my opinion, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just felt like it was time as well, and it would have been a chance to build up one of the newer teams, maybe the club. I think you and I both picked the club. And this was this pay-per-view as a whole, not too great for picks as far as myself or Doug goes, but Mr. A-Bear over here regained his lead.
Back in the lead. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, enjoy it while it lasts.
Well, it's going to last for a while, so yeah.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
I mean, you held it for, what was it, like 4 months?
Yeah.
4 months, and then I took it for a month or two.
2 months.
Yeah.
Or for 2 pay-per-views or something.
And now you've got it again.
I'm going to hold that belt, son.
Uh-huh.
Holding on my shoulder.
Oh, is that how it's going to be?
Yeah.
What about Doug?
Last place.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have like zero faith in him.
Well, I mean, okay. I'm sorry. You may switch to second.
Because we are at the halfway point of our... acting all bad.
Cool.
We're at the halfway point of our Pick the Winner championship race. You currently have 30 correct picks. I currently have 29, so it's still anyone's
You're
game.
on my tail.
And Doug's not far behind with 26.
Next pay-per-view, it's I'm going to, gain like a few more points above you and,
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see how it goes. So a new day end up retaining.
It's just what's going to happen is like for a while, you and Doug are going to switch between second and third until, the end where I'm victorious.
Just zoom ahead.
I'm going to always zoom ahead. So where you can't come after me.
Can't catch you?
Yeah, you can't see me.
Oh, okay. That's how far ahead you're going to be?
Yeah.
Where I can't see you?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see. So next matchup we're going to talk about Baron Corbin going up against Dolph Ziggler. I don't know.
Okay, I feel like, in my opinion, he's better than what it was in NXT. He's added some new moves in his repertoire, and I want this stuff to end between him and Ziggler.
It looks like it's going to.
Yeah, it wasn't going anywhere. And yes, I understand you need to give him someone for a while for other situations to come open and play out and all that stuff, and that's what's going to happen. Because I have a feeling that, he's going to be shot up in the mid card.
Yeah,
I feel like so. And I actually did like that move. It's in his repertoire where he slides out and then runs back around and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And gets in a clothesline.
Yeah.
So.
The match was fine, but, nothing really stood out. Like I said, the first half of this pay-per-view was kind of a dud for me. But Baron Corbin does end up getting the victory, hopefully putting an end to this feud. And I guess we'll just have to see where it goes from there. Next matchup we're going to talk about, tag match action between the ladies. Charlotte and Dana Brooke going up against Natalya and Becky Lynch. We picked Natalya and Becky Lynch to win this one because their title wasn't on the line. There was no real implications. But it was not to be, as Charlotte and Dana Brooke ended up getting the victory. Dana definitely still has some work to do.
Yeah.
She was not very fluent. She didn't flow very well in the ring. Some miscommunication. There were a lot of miscommunications in this pay-per-view as a whole. But Natalya and Becky Lynch got bumped into one another, and Natalya ends up taking the pin. Or was it Becky? Either way, that team lost. Charlotte and Dana Brooke end up winning. And then after the match, Natalya attacks Becky Lynch out of frustration.
I guess it's time for her character to change.
Yeah.
She's been the same for a while and been off of TV for a while, so I guess having a little push.
I'm tired of farting.
And stop
Let's talk about
talking
my cat.
shit about my cats.
Let's talk about my cats.
Yes. Let's talk about cats, man.
Cats, man.
So, it's a feud that's about to take Becky out of the picture of the title, and it's just going to be Becky and Natalya just duking out for a while, so that's so nice.
Which will be good for Becky, because it's, they talk about Natalya, how she's this, top tier pedestal female competitor, so it will be good for Becky Lynch to get a win over that. So we'll see. It certainly was a surprise. It wasn't really foreseen that she was going to be turning heel.
Yeah.
So at least it was a nice surprise. They can still surprise you on.
Got him.
Sure. After that, we got to see Apollo Crews go up against Sheamus. Any thoughts on this matchup?
I'm blanking.
And that's kind of how the pay-per-view, the first half of the pay-per-view was for me.
No, I mean, I remember other stuff from other matches, but I just don't remember too much about this match.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was fine. They certainly hyped it up like it was the biggest win for Apollo Crews since he did get the victory over Sheamus.
Yeah, so far it is.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's the biggest win of his career so far, and all that good stuff. So, I mean,
well, in the career in WWE.
Yeah, I mean, good for him, and Sheamus is a very good name to get a win over.
He beat that ass.
That's right, he did. But yeah, nothing really stood out from the match itself. Next matchup, we'll talk about what I thought was going to be the match of the night. AJ Styles going up against John Cena. Now, I've seen a lot of comments about this matchup, and people are giving it all kinds of praise. They are saying like this was an amazing match, 4.5 stars out of 5, and they put on a great show. Personally, for me, I did not like this matchup. The ending was fine. The action was fast-paced towards the end, which that I liked. But the build towards the match, and I understand that they were telling a story. They did a fine job of telling the story with AJ Styles, literally running circles around John Cena in the ring, saying you can't compete with me. I'm better than you in any other way. But John Cena, to me, just maybe it was their intention of trying to make it seem like this, but I don't know if it was ring rust or if it was the desert air since they were in Las Vegas, but he seemed so gassed out, so exhausted. Now, maybe I'm misinterpreting it. Maybe that's what they intended for the story to be told, is that, AJ Styles is this quick, athletic guy, and he's, wearing John Cena down that way. Very well could be the case. But I took it as, man, their timing is off. There's something wrong with Cena. Like, he's not going at what we know he's capable of doing. Now you have to also take into account that he's been gone for several months due to injury.
Well, I'm with the other people. I think they're playing up to, like he's gonna run around him and stuff like that. And I think if this was another way to make the match look good and make AJ look good.
Mm-hmm.
And all that stuff, and because when Cena comes back, I know he's getting older and stuff like that, but I know he always puts in the work.
Yeah.
And he wants to make himself, different and do different moves and stuff. I just think it's one of those things. He's just, it was different, making it look like it did. I don't think he was like super gassed and like, like Kimbo Slice and Data 5000.
Yeah.
So I'm opposite of you.
I wanted, during my lunch break at work today, I wanted to give it another watch, but unfortunately I just didn't have the time. So maybe if I go back and watch it a second time, I'll have a better appreciation for it, because I've been seeing a lot of people praising this matchup. Hell, Stone Cold was talking, like it was the best match of the year. And I didn't feel that way. And maybe I need to go in now that I know how it all played out in the end, go back and rewatch it and be like, all right, let's really dive into this matchup. Cause I want to see what everyone else saw. But unfortunately I was just such in the mindset of, man, something's up. Like this isn't,
it was weird to see at first, like what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So
like I immediately caught on to the story that AJ is, very superior to John Cena in the ring. He's very, athletic and nimble and fast and all of that good stuff. They told that story very well. And like I said, once the action picked up in the end, I was digging it.
Yeah.
The end, obviously very predictable. Club comes out and, beats down on John Cena to get AJ the win. But like even the way that the ref got taken out, it looked so weak.
I forgot how to get taken out.
Like AJ was on Cena's shoulders, he was going for the AA, and like he just got turned into him. Like, it looked so weak, and he fell down for it.
I gotta rewatch that part.
And that was another thing. It was like 2 matches later, the ref goes down again. I'm like, really? Or 3 matches, however long it was. Just the simple things like that where I'm like, really? They're doing that spot again? But for me personally, I need to go back and rewatch this match because a lot of people were hyping it. A lot of people were saying it was really good. But I guess at knee-jerk reaction, I didn't. So, how about you?
I thought something was up, but I was thinking in my head about the whole situation and stuff, and that's how I felt.
Yeah. So, but AJ Styles, however the record may state it, will say that AJ Styles pinned John Cena in the center of that ring, which is a huge deal. So, for a former TNA guy to come in and beat your top draw, John Cena, the guy who's carried the weight of your company for the past decade, decade and a half.
Me like
2 years ago,
2-3 years ago, that Samoa Joe, AJ Styles is gonna be in WWE, and they're gonna be
Bobby Roode, Eric Young.
Awesome. Well, I'm talking about like when all those guys were in TNA, like back in the day, like the big main stars were like Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, like those guys and stuff. And like, if you would have told me that they were going to be in WWE, I was like, no way. No way in hell WWE wouldn't give those guys a shot at all.
And now look at it. Like, look at how much the landscape has changed just in the past, like, 2 years.
It's exciting, you know, and it's good that they've changed their ways, you know. They're still looking at big guys, but they're also
looking to appeal to more
the little guys too, and see what they can do and see what their style is and what they can bring to the table.
And they've got the Cruiserweight Classic that's coming up, so that's going to appeal to those fans. It's about to get exciting.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I'm really looking forward to what the next year or so
see
holds.
what the Cruiserweight brings in and stuff. And I know I keep on mentioning it. Like, I just want Joe to be on the main roster. I want Austin Aries, Shinsuke, Finn Balor, like all those guys. Like, they deserve it. Let them come in. And it's like, because, okay, Joe's TNA. Austin Aries was TNA. Bobby Roode was, okay, Bobby Roode may have done some indies, but I don't think he was like ROH or stuff like that. I don't know like that, but he was like, he may have been one of the originals in TNA. I know Eric
Beer
Young
Money
was.
And all that.
No, like just before that, he was in Team Canada with Eric Young. So I don't know. Those guys, they all deserve it because maybe not everyone wants to get to WWE. But, you know, it's in their back of their head. A lot of guys want to get to WWE, for sure. And, like,
once they see that paycheck, they're like, hell yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
This is the place to be.
Yeah, so it's like, I'm super pumped, man. I'm just ready for that. And then who else in the future they're going to bring in?
Yeah, they announced their first Chinese wrestler over the past week. Unfortunately, I don't recall the name. Or I would have.
But that's still pretty cool, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're expanding their horizons.
If you think about it, like, they've gotten some big indie names that were, like, that came through, that's in there. Claudio Castagnoli, Cesaro.
Yep.
Pac, that's Neville. They got
Kevin Owens.
Sami
Zayn.
John Moxley.
Dean Ambrose. Seth Rollins.
CM Punk, Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
You know, some of them are not going to always make it. Like, I wish Chris Hero was there, you know, and I wish Colt Cabana, wasn't there. Colt Cabana's doing good for himself right now.
Oh, yeah.
So he doesn't need WWE. But, I mean, but it's still, like, that was, like, the coolest, like, the biggest names and stuff. And they got Shinsuke. Even though Kenta's on the shelf right now, like, he's still hurt, but he's going to come back and he's going to do good stuff. So it's just, like, they're just getting, like, big people and stuff. And it's just, like, and
the fact that they're wanting to try and sign Adam Cole, like that kind of stuff. It's like, really? Like, it's so crazy. So crazy. Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah.
Johnny Gargano.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. It's just cool. And it's good to get them, like, because there's some, Johnny Gargano is young. He's like 28, 29 stuff. He's done great stuff already in the indies. and it's just cool that they're grabbing him. It's like he's coming in young, and he's just gonna just do good because let's face. I mean, there's like AJ Styles is in his prime, but he's like 39 and all that stuff like that. And I'm glad that they got him, But and all those guys deserve, Bobby Roode's 39, 40, and stuff. But
they're there to help.
They're there to help. I'm glad they have all these people with just the open mindedness, and it's just, oh my gosh,
it's gonna be a lot of fun the next few years.
Shinsuke for president.
Yeah. Did you watch NXT?
This past episode?
Whenever he called out
I didn't see that
Finn
episode,
Balor?
but I saw that part, which was cool.
Yeah. That was so cool. But let's go back into Money in the Bank. The next matchup we have to talk about, the Money in the Bank ladder match. Chris Jericho, Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, and Alberto Del Rio. And before we talk about the match, I want to talk about the backstage segment that occurred leading up to it with Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, and Alberto Del Rio. I mean, my God, these guys are hilarious. The fact that Owens had such witty comebacks for everything.
Oh, he always does. That's his thing.
What are you going to do? You're going to say something to me in Spanish? I mean, you're going to call me a dog? I mean, that's what perro means, right?
Yeah, you call me a dog. I know what that means. And Chris Jericho's like, oh, you know how to speak Spanish? It's like, no, I don't know how to speak. I looked it up because he keeps on calling me that.
You keep calling me something. I want to know what you're saying, so I'm going to go and look it up. Oh, I mean, why? You think you're the only one who speaks another language?
I know French.
Yeah. So just really good stuff. But let's talk about this ladder match. Really fun action. I certainly enjoyed it. It's up there as far as Money in the Bank ladder matches.
Oh my gosh, it's fun. Like, all those guys know what to do, and especially in the Indies, they're the king of it.
Yeah.
Steen and who's the other guy? No, Sami Zayn.
You seriously just blank?
No. I'm just.
Oh yeah.
Can't say the other guy.
Sure.
Can't say it.
Okay.
Because they're not the same person.
No, they're not.
They're not the same person.
One of them's off in Mexico.
Yeah, one's in Mexico. Helping the orphans.
But what I like about this is that you have skilled veterans of ladder matches.
Oh yeah.
They know the psychology. They know what needs to be done. A lot of good action. Really painful bump for Kevin Owens. I mean, to land on the ladder the way that he did.
On his spine.
Yeah. There's...
Oh.
It hurt. It hurt to watch.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Very entertaining, though. Just... And we talked about this on our predictions, that at one point or another, pretty much everyone's going to have their hand on the
I think that's like something they have to do. Like, hey, y'all can do y'all's own thing, but make sure you're on the ladder.
At
it's
one
sort of
point or
like the
another.
situation, like every time before, like the pay-per-view, you always got to point to the briefcase or
point at the WrestleMania sign.
That's something that you always have to do and
Yeah.
stuff, because we're gonna get those pictures in. They're gonna be probably used for a promotional picture for the next.
Oh, they definitely set up next year's poster with the structure that they built, and all of them standing up there reaching up for it, and then they were all fighting. So, I mean, job well done to all of these guys. We predicted Owens. Doug picked Ambrose.
I should have seen it coming. I should have.
It's always hard.
But it's like your heart. It's
Yeah.
like it's the Kevin Owens time, man. But if you think about it, it's Dean Ambrose's time. He's he's had so many times he had the chance and he's lost, and and you should have thought about it, because it's like Shield reunion, Shield like guys fight each other in the main events. It's something that the WWE is going to go for.
I mean, that kind of writes itself.
Yes.
So it's like, hey, we might as well just let it happen.
I should have known before the pay-per-view, before we picked, because that little snippet when they had the Ambrose Asylum and they all talked and stuff.
How many times did they actually say that and then it happens? That's the thing. Is like they could say that just to throw you off.
Because we wanted Owens to win so bad, to be honest with you. And I'm going to be honest, like at first after he won, I was like, I don't like this. Then I start to think about it more. I was like, okay, I'm okay with this. Because nothing against Dean Ambrose, but I was so set with Kevin Owens.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like they do certain things to make you feel a certain way, but then they'll toss in Daniel Bryan and give him the Money in the Bank briefcase, or they'll have Damian Sandow get it, and it's like, wait, what? That doesn't make any sense.
But you know, I'm fine with the choices.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I thought about it correctly, I was fine with anyone in the match getting the briefcase except for Jericho.
Yeah. I was
not so much for Del Rio.
Part of me was expecting them to give it to Jericho.
Yeah.
Just because he was hyping it up so much. It was like, I created this match. It's a match I've never won. You know, now I've won it, kind of stuff. Even if they have him go and lose it, I would have been fine. But part of me was like, yeah, I wonder if they're going to give it to him. But was not to be, as Dean Ambrose becomes Mr. Money in the Bank.
They were taunting everyone win it, but they were really taunting that, oh no, Sami Zayn's going to get it. I'm like, oh, hey, I'm still cool if Sami Zayn gets it too.
Yeah, and they did a fine job of making it believable, except for one time when Del Rio tried to crawl up the ladder. I mean, he cleared the ring of everyone. He was running around, puts the ladder up, sets it in place, and then becomes a snail going up the ladder. I mean, I'm sitting there going, really? Like, you couldn't have at least huffed and puffed before you started climbing the ladder and make it seem like, oh my God, I just did all this work and now I'm exhausted and now I got to climb this thing. So just one little gripe. But other than that, the match was fun. Had a lot of enjoyment in it. A lot of good action. Definitely check that one out. Ambrose, Mr. Money in the Bank. I don't think he's going to hold on to it for too long. Next matchup we'll see is the Rusev versus Titus O'Neil match for the United States title.
Hard hitting, man.
Oh my goodness, yes. A lot of intensity. I liked it. I dug it. Predictable ending outcome.
Yeah.
But they did set up for a continuation of the feud as Rusev, after the match, grabs the microphone, goes up in front of Titus O'Neil's kids who were there in attendance live, and it was like, hey, you know what your father is? He's a loser.
A loser!
Happy Father's Day!
Yeah!
So, although I will say I am kind of surprised that they had Titus O'Neil tap out.
Why are you surprised?
I just figured like he would have just beaten him cleanly or something like that. I didn't think that they would make him tap
of his
out.
size or something?
Because he's a big guy, and they're obviously continuing the feud now. So why have him tap out? I don't know. I mean, I get that Rusev finishes his match with a submission, but it seemed like they didn't really let Titus struggle to get out. I mean, he managed to get out, I think, once. I don't remember, but I felt it was kind of odd. And something that just popped into my head, going back to the AJ Styles and John Cena match. I know Cena is known for it, but my God, can you try and not make it seem like you're just shouting out
Punch
your next
me.
spots?
Irish whip me.
Like, good Lord.
Counter my attack.
Maybe that was another thing that took me out of the match. I'm like, there he goes again. Like, he doesn't even like
It
put
always
his hand to
reminds
his
me
mouth.
of like when Botchamania puts it up and they put that, that
John Cena
8-bit
talks too
music
much.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And, it cracks me up.
Yeah,
Like,
every time.
He doesn't care. He's going to
He
do it.
really doesn't. I mean, at this point, just give him a microphone so everyone else will know what's going to happen. Because, I mean, my God. Like, at least with AJ Styles, he can look down and his hair will cover his mouth. Like you said, having the long hair does have its advantages for stuff like that. But when John Cena's laying on his back and he just turns to AJ and, all right, get ready to cross, like, dude, come on. At least try. But anyways, that's just a small little gripe. Rusev ends up defeating Titus O'Neil. Next matchup, main event of the evening.
Speaking of other guys that can call without,
Yeah,
because they have long hair and stuff.
they do. Seth Rollins going up against Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship. And I'll say this. I loved the match. I hated the booking. Not the booking of the ending of the match. That I was okay with. The fact that they're having Roman Reigns come out, hyping him up as the good guy, in a sense. I know he's doing the whole not a good guy, not a bad guy thing. Seth Rollins coming out, supposed to be the heel, and they completely switch it. Now, I understand that the crowd does, have some control over that, and they will switch it up a little bit. But Roman Reigns was in full-blown heel mode. Seth Rollins was in full-blown face mode.
Yes.
Like, this was domination from Roman Reigns. He was beating Rollins down, talking smack.
Beating that ass.
Beating that ass. talking smack, had the little swagger going around.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You think you can come back and take my title? Who do you think
bitch.
you are? Pretty much. And, Seth Rollins was being the underdog. Like, I'm getting beat down. I just need to, take the punishment and hope that a spot opens up to get the advantage. And that's what ended up happening. I mean, Rollins was the high-flying underdog in this match. So it was weird to hear the commentators call the match and not address anything like that. But the match itself, I thought it was great. I thought these guys did a really standout job. The thud from Roman Reigns trying to do the spear into the barricade, and the barricade didn't even budge. Like 9 times out of 10, it always buckles, and this is the 10th time. So
that was quite funny.
Yeah, and then I didn't like the medics and referees coming down and almost protecting Roman Reigns. Like, I get it, because it could be a serious head injury or something like that, and they played into it, but it like completely sucked out some of the momentum. I'm glad that Rollins at least got back in there, tossed him into the ring, finished the matchup. But the end, and I told you this whenever we were watching it live, I think the end should have been the pedigree when Rollins countered the spear.
Spear into the pedigree.
That to me would have had more effect than I'm going to give you a second pedigree and that's going to be it. Because it came so quickly after. Like, if they would have just done that, turned him over, 1, 2, 3, oh my gosh, Seth Rollins at the perfect time countered the spear into a pedigree, I think that would have left.
I thought that he was, after he did that and kicked out, and then something happened, and he reversed it into the pedigree, I thought he was going to kick out that second pedigree.
Yeah, it's like, it would have been more impactful had he pinned him clean from the reversed spear.
I mean, he still pinned him clean. But
yeah, he pinned him clean, which is now the 3rd time in which Roman Reigns has lost his title cleanly. So, I don't know. I don't get
Suck it.
Yeah. So Seth Rollins becomes the 2-time WWE champion, celebrating in the ring. But we're not done yet. Cue Ambrose music. And
I called it because I was like, I don't feel like he's going to keep the briefcase, walk around with it and stuff.
Yeah.
I hope he cashes in tonight. And he did.
And sure enough, here comes Dean Ambrose. But Rollins is looking towards the entryway, waiting for him to come out. But Dean Ambrose surprises him from behind.
I thought Roman was going to get up and thrash Seth and then
take him out.
And then Ambrose is going to capitalize on that.
Mm-hmm. But it was not to be. Ambrose hits Rollins with the briefcase, walks over to the referee, says, "Hey, I'm cashing in. Ring the bell."
That was some dirty shit. That was dirty shit. Dirty shit.
Would you say it was almost dirty deeds?
Yes, it was.
Ah, okay.
He gave him the D's.
Deeds.
Oh, he gave him the D's.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Sure. No, he didn't give him these nuts.
He gave him the big D.
So they start the match. Dean Ambrose delivers dirty deeds.
Oh my God.
1, 2, 3. New WWE champion. Dean Ambrose, your new WWE champion. So in one night, all 3 members of the Shield were WWE champion.
Yep.
So really crazy story. Like I said, the second half of this pay-per-view I felt was far superior to the first. So let us know what you thought of Money in the Bank in the comments section. But with that being said, it's time to go into Raw, and we kick it off with Dean Ambrose getting out of a taxi cab, and taxi cab was driving away. He's like, "Oh wait, hang on, I forgot something in there," and turns out it was the WWE Champion show. So
I feel like I should take off automatically. I have your title, bitch.
I've got it now. I'm selling this on eBay.
Oh shit! I'm supposed to have a title for the show, and he took it. Hurry and like go past like another driver, hand it off or whatever, and come back.
Go to the shop, WWE shop. Quick, give me a title. I don't care what the side plates say. But yeah, we kick things off. Ambrose coming out, delivering a promo. He's interrupted by Roman Reigns, who's then interrupted by Rollins. They all want the title. They all want to fight.
Then who's interrupted by
Shane O'Mac, who says, "All right, well, fine. We're gonna have Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns to determine the number 1 contender to face Dean Ambrose at Battleground." So there's your main event. Then we get to go into the opening contest. Sami Zayn going up against Kevin Owens. And this was a very fun match,
They're always going to go back to that, man.
which is fine with me. I have no issues with that.
Which I'm fine with it too, but how many times until it's too many times?
Well, I think we're going to see them split, obviously. And so when it comes down to the Royal Rumble, when it comes down to Money in the Bank or something like that, we'll have those couple clashes again.
I hope I get that feeling again whenever they split it, where it was cool to see them on rosters. You have to see the show to see them and stuff. And when they had their interactions with each other from different rosters, it was cool,
Yeah.
Because they got to a point where they brought people in that's never been on the other roster with certain people before. And we're going to get to that point.
We're going to see some matches you've never seen before.
And I like that. I liked it because it got stale.
It's time to shake things up.
The draft at the few 5 years, I guess, before it stopped or whatever, it was dull. This time it's ready for it.
Well, it became predictable, and then it just became stupid whenever they're trading like commenter. It's like, oh, we're trading ring announcers, and we're trading, like the whole no one is safe kind of stuff. Like, no, just keep it to the roster. Thank you. And they still have not announced who the SmackDown general manager is going to be.
Shane, right?
He keeps saying that. I'm not
think
for
so.
certain. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, Sami Zayn going up against Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn end up getting the victory, but then after the match, Kevin Owens is like, no, screw that. I want some more. And they brawl all the way to backstage, go to commercial, come back, still brawling. They're brawling in the backstage area.
Finley helps break it up.
Yeah, Finley and Road Dogg were back there trying to break things up. Local security and the referees weren't doing anything. So, yeah. After that, John Laurinaitis appears. People power. He's wanting to provide people power to SmackDown.
That's quite hilarious.
That suit, man. Where does he
red,
get those?
Man. Shane comes in and is like, hey, John, come on, get out. He's like,
Yeah.
Shane, man, everyone, get over here. And then that was so hilarious. And he's like, yeah, you can't be doing this. He's like, I get it. You run SmackDown, and Johnny, Big Johnny, will run Raw. Big Johnny loves change.
It's all about people power.
Big Johnny.
Big Johnny.
Big Johnny.
Yeah. So it should be interesting to see. I do enjoy seeing like GMs of past up here, like seeing
We're not gonna have some
Teddy
stupid
Lawler.
ass shit where it's like all stuff is going okay in here. Doo-doo. Hey, I would like to
oh god
run
no.
this.
I hope not. Because Hornswoggle's gone, so they can't do that anymore.
Hornswoggle wasn't the
Yes, he was.
What?
You don't remember that?
No.
Santino discovered that it was Hornswoggle underneath the ring, and he had the laptop sending the messages.
Oh.
Like Santino spent like a couple of weeks trying to.
Who all
Determine who it
remembers
was.
that? I don't.
Well, I do.
Well, you don't count.
Oh, okay. Well, if that's the case, for anyone who's listening to the show, go to our Facebook page, WNS Podcast, or our YouTube channel, WNS Video. Comment if you remember that Hornswoggle was the anonymous Raw General Manager.
It was Mick Foley.
I really want to hear people comment on this. If you do remember it, let us know. If you do not remember it, let us know.
Yeah,
So,
I want to see who remembers it.
In fact, I might even put out a Twitter poll to see who remembers it. So, yeah. All right. With that being said, Enzo and Cass come out and deliver a promo on John Laurinaitis. If John Laurinaitis said anything, if I had a dime for every time John Laurinaitis said something relevant, I'd have 0 dimes.
I had the jersey that said 0 times.
I like that. It's not too bad. They end up going up against the Vaudevillains. Short matchup.
Johnny
Enzo-
Laryngitis.
John Laryngitis. You all right?
Yes.
Banged your hand on the countertop.
I did.
Mm-hmm. So Enzo and Cass end up getting the victory, which takes us into the next segment, the club talking to John Cena. AJ Styles coming out and saying, hey, I had nothing to do with those guys coming out. I didn't want them out there, and I want you guys to apologize and all that. And John Cena is not having any of it.
I don't believe that shit.
Yeah, I don't believe you guys for a second. And he's like, all right, well, fine. How about you face Carl Anderson? So they fight. And then AJ Styles and Gallows decide to attack John Cena and cause the disqualification. So there was that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that.
Yeah. After that, we got to see Becky Lynch talk about how, Natalya turned her back on her, and she understands that she was frustrated.
So
no reason to take
sad.
And then Natalya attacked her and then said, for the first time in years, I'm going to take care of myself. So further solidifying that she is now a heel. So sad. Next matchup, we got to see Baron Corbin going up against Zack Ryder. Short matchup. Surprised that Zack Ryder didn't win since he did not hit the broski boot. Because usually he hits the broski boot and then about 30 seconds later. Well, it just proves that he can still lose. But normally when he hits the broski boot, about 30 seconds to a minute later, he's pinned on the ground. Or being submitted. Huh?
Was that a boot?
A boot? Yes. After that, we got to see Charlotte going up against Paige for the WWE Women's Championship. Since Paige has defeated Charlotte twice, I believe, in the past couple of weeks. So, forced to defend her title. Anything to take away from the matchup?
Mm-mm.
How about the Dana Brooke spot of trying to put Charlotte's foot on the rope?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. It's like, hey, I didn't put your leg on the rope, but it's right underneath it. Now hold it.
Hey, ref, her foot's on the rope, even though it's under the rope, and my hand is grasped onto her foot that is now attached to the rope. Hey, ref, look, break the count. And the ref's like, oh, okay.
Okay.
I'll break that. And by the way, you're out of here, lady. And while that happens, Charlotte delivers natural selection, which the commentators almost missed. JBL caught it. And it was like, oh, he hit natural selection. And then now we're going to pin you. 1, 2, 3. So Dana Brooke didn't even leave the area. And now she gets to go back in the ring and celebrate. And they decide to beat down Paige some more. But hold up, players, because here comes the return of Sasha Banks. So, I mean, good to see Sasha Banks back after suffering a concussion. So...
Then they celebrate in the ring, Sasha Banks and Paige turns on Sasha.
No, only if it's Becky do you turn.
Sasha.
But Paige did make sure to let us know where she lived.
Yep.
Did you hear about the situation that occurred after Money in the Bank with Paige and Alberto Del Rio?
I heard it was a rumor.
There's rumors going on. There's people that are saying that it's confirmed, but there wasn't an arrest made. But apparently, Paige and Alberto Del Rio were reportedly involved in an altercation after Money in the Bank. No charges were filed, but WWE is investigating the situation. Because there were people saying, oh, they're just shooting something for Swerved, or oh, they're shooting something for Total Divas. But it turns out that was not the case. So they're looking into the situation.
Violent sex tape.
No. After that, we got to see the return of the Wyatt family. They've been out for a while after Bray got injured, so it's nice to see him come back. The crowd was certainly happy to see him back, but then they were interrupted by the New Day to solidify that the Wyatt family will be heel during this run. And I'm kind of curious as to see what they're going to do. Is it going to be a 2-on-2 match, or is it going to be a 3-on-3?
Probably 3-on-3.
Yeah.
And then they're claiming that they're gonna break up the New Day.
We'll have to see. After that, we got to see Rusev come out in what we thought was going to be a rematch against Titus O'Neil. Turns out just to be an all-out brawl.
I beat that ass.
This match didn't even get started because Titus O'Neil came out showing a lot of aggression, taking out his frustrations on Rusev. And I dug it. I thought Titus O'Neil did a great job. I thought Rusev did an excellent job. So I'm totally fine with seeing these two lock up once again at a later date. So any thoughts for you?
Yeah, I'm the same with you.
Cool. That takes us into the main event of Raw, Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. Another solid matchup from these two, but it ends up being a double countout. And Dean Ambrose gets in the ring. Shane O'Mac comes out and says, no, that's not how we're going to do things. If we restart the match, we need a winner. Ambrose is like, well, wait a second. I'll fight Rollins. I'll fight Reigns. I'll fight them both in the same night. And Shane's like, well, hey, I'll do you one better. You can fight both of them at the same time in one night. Triple threat match. Players at Battleground to determine the WWE Championship. So that's pretty much how they close out Raw. However, the story continues. As news broke earlier today, Roman Reigns suspended 30 days for violating the wellness policy. I know there are a lot of Roman Reigns haters out there who are happy to see it, a lot of Roman Reigns fans who are unhappy to see it.
It's not going to phase him.
Yeah, you don't think so? Because Battleground is in 5 weeks, which is obviously more.
He's not going to win the title back.
Yeah, but it's
Well,
more
he's
than
gonna be the
30
main
days.
event.
It's more than 30 days, so they still have time to keep him in the picture, so to speak.
Well, he's not going to be on the TV.
Like, he's just not going to be mentioned, or are they going to mention him and say, these three are fighting for the title and just keep the focus on Ambrose and Rollins? I don't know what they're planning on doing, so it should be really interesting to say the least. And there are rumors that it wasn't drugs, it was the fact that he didn't take the wellness test. So again, that's rumor, speculation at the moment. But make sure you check out WrestlingNewsSource.com for all the details on that. He did send out a tweet that was like saying, I apologize to my friends and family. I own up to it. I violated the wellness policy. So now it's just a matter of how or, why. So we'll find out in due time. But with that being said, let's go into hot topics, because after Raw, I was ready to go to bed, but oh wait, there's still more stuff to watch.
Yeah.
The Stone Cold podcast with AJ Styles, and I'll be honest, I am so glad that we stayed up to watch that.
That's really,
Because
to be honest with you, I wouldn't have watched too much. I would have gone home, but there's something Stone Cold and AJ Styles. I wanted to watch it,
yeah, it was really good, really compelling stuff. I was cracking up at Stone Cold, who issued a few 4-letter words that aren't allowed apparently on the network, and you could tell that he had gotten word, and the producer was telling him, "Hey, you can't be saying that." And so he's like,
"What word?"
"Oh, I don't know, probably shit." But
fuck.
But he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was the WWE Network where people paying $9.99 to hear everything about the business, especially from Stone Cold Steve Austin. So I humbly apologize." Like staring into the microphone, or not?
He knows he can get away with that shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He'll pay the fines. It doesn't matter. But they edited it anyway, so you didn't hear what he said. But yeah, AJ Styles. They talked about his career. The most shocking thing that they talked about was TNA. They actually brought it up. They said the letters. You worked for TNA. Let's talk about that. What was it like working for Dixie Carter? What was the atmosphere backstage?
I was like, whoa. We were like that for a while, because it's like, even though, if you think about it, because they showed pictures of him, TNA, they had to have some deal with TNA with that situation.
Yeah.
And it's not uncommon, because WWE's done deal with them before. Because what was that thing where they had to do something with Ric Flair, right? And they gave him Christian to come back for a night or whatever. So it's not surprising. But when, like, on air and Raw and stuff, or certain things, they'll be like, oh, yeah, like, AJ was an he went to Japan, he went to this, but what happened between these years, they don't even say.
Right.
But they said, TNA, what was going on in there, Dixie Carter. I'm like, oh my gosh, because we're making jokes like, oh no, let's show a picture with AJ, with Dixie Carter on the WWE Network.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think one of the main reasons they were able to get away from it is because, one, AJ Styles kept his name. Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, if you're going to work for us, we need your likeness.
Yeah,
which
so
means
we had to.
Any pictures of you that we can use, we're going to. Second off, it's exposure for TNA, so I'm sure TNA wouldn't not allow that. So yeah, it was just surreal to hear him actually say it, because, like you said, they don't mention other companies. I mean, it's strange that they've mentioned Ring of Honor. It's strange that they've mentioned New Japan.
Well, that's more common these days. Well, not Ring of Honor, but New Japan and all that stuff. And if they drop ROH or stuff like that, it's like, whoa. And I like to hear that.
Yeah.
But it's not as shocking as mentioning TNA.
Yeah, because that's the one that has never been said.
Yeah.
Like, did Sting do the podcast? I think
Shit, I don't know.
he did. Anyways, like, I don't think there's been really other times where TNA has been said on WWE programming. So it's just very strange, very surreal to hear it.
But, it was just, that was pretty cool. We were making jokes the whole time about that. So it was just fun in general.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, just the Stone Cold, the talk about, AJ's life and all that stuff. And it was just a really good conversation between guys.
Yeah.
So
I mean, talking about his growing up with his family and the tough times that they went through, going into
wrestling,
college sports and all that,
sports.
or high school sports, and then going into college and then getting out of college to pursue wrestling.
It's also cool for them to show, talk about Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels and stuff.
Samoa Joe.
I mean, Samoa Joe's in WWE, and
And they even mentioned the Bullet Club.
Yeah, Bullet Club. Christopher Daniels was in WCW, so I don't know for how long, but he was in there and stuff, and
He's been in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, but it's so cool. Like Stone Cold's like, talk to Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle, holds you as the highest wrestler. He puts you on high in the list. And
Very
stuff.
high regards.
Yeah. So it's like Stone Cold just does not give a fuck. He's gonna mention whatever the fuck he wants.
Well, Stone Cold podcast, we're gonna talk about whatever Stone Cold wants.
Because he knows he can get away with that with Vince McMahon because they're friends, and hey, guess
they
what?
even brought up Hogan.
Yeah, the Hogan, yeah.
Like, it wasn't too much into it, but
Hogan.
they were comparing the 6-sided ring to the 4-sided ring, and it was like, yeah, Hogan brought that in, and you could tell AJ kind of paused and was like, oh shit, I just dropped Hogan's name.
Oh, go ahead, man. We don't care.
So,
so it's just really cool, because to me, in my head, that's for I don't know being a person inside WWE, I don't know that part and stuff like that, but it's go ahead, let's talk about TNA, man, and it's talk about the ring, and why didn't you stay with TNA and all that stuff, and it was just a good watch.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where, okay, you've been a professional wrestler for say 18 years. And you've been in this particular company for, over half of that. So it's why can't we talk about the majority of your wrestling career?
You know what they're talking, now I bet TNA is regretting letting AJ go because, fuck, we've really fucked that. Guess what? Y'all fucked up certain people. That's why they left. Guess what? WWE's picking them up and they're making them bigger stars.
Yep.
Fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much. Sorry for those of you who are TNA fans. I mean, it's unfortunate that it's happened, but you kind of have to blame TNA on those parts.
Let's see. They just picked Bobby Roode up. They may be in the process of Eric Young getting a contract.
Yep.
Samoa Joe, AJ Styles,
Austin Aries,
Xavier Woods.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Pretty intense. But the Stone Cold podcast, AJ Styles, really, really fun. If you're an AJ Styles fan, make sure you check that one out. In a report from Dave Meltzer, apparently, they are reporting that WWE is reaching out to former stars to help fill up the roster for the upcoming SmackDown and Raw drafts. And some of the names include Kurt Angle, Jeff Hardy, Carlito, Goldberg.
Jeff
Shelton
Hardy's
Benjamin.
contract about to be up?
I think so.
What about Matt?
I don't know.
Matt's stuck in there.
Brother Nero.
If they both come back, people are going to be shouting fucking Brother Nero. Brother Nero!
Shit, people are already doing it. What are you talking about? So would you like to see some of from the stars of yesteryear?
Carlito for sure.
Yeah.
I've been missing Carlito as hell.
Yeah.
I don't know how Goldberg will work on the main roster. I just don't know.
His will just be a one-off. I feel like it'd just be a 1-year kind of deal. Sort of like Brock Lesnar. He'll come back, wrestle a match or two.
Certain dates.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle will come in. I don't know how much wrestling he'll do, but be manager.
Well, yeah, he doesn't need to be a manager. Or no, he doesn't need to be a wrestler. He needs to be a manager.
American Alpha,
absolutely
manager. And
I
all
mean
that stuff.
that writes itself.
Oh yeah.
Not saying that they need a manager because they can hold their own, but to have a name like Kurt Angle attached to that's going to launch them into the stratosphere.
Yeah.
Like that's going to instantly make these guys top level guys with the main crowd.
Let them get them big and let the old Team Angle come in and have old Team Angle versus new Team Angle.
Hey, you never know. We'll have to see.
But I think they also said they reached out to her. The rumor was JTG, Shad Gaspard, Shelton Benjamin, so guys like that. I think John Morrison. They're talking to him.
Interesting. So we'll have to see what the draft has in store for us because I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
In Nikki Bella news, I want to say that we reported this last week, but I just wanted to make sure that we covered it just in case. I know last week we said that she dropped her finisher move, the rack attack, but there are reports saying that she's working with Daniel Bryan to come up with a new finisher. So just really cool stuff. Just something to pass along. And finally, for our listeners in the Houston area, a couple big events that are coming to town in late August. Monday Night Raw is going to be at the Toyota Center. August 6th, Saturday, you and I will be in Pasadena at the Pasadena Convention Center for the Icons of Wrestling and Comic Book Collector Fest, followed by House of Hardcore. So make sure to go to their websites for all the information on that. And Saturday, July 30th, NXT's coming to Houston. Whoop, whoop. So a lot of exciting stuff. Plus, we've got Booker T's Reality Wrestling Summer of Champions 3 coming up. You've got Doomsday Wrestling. You've got Hurricane Pro. So a lot of fun stuff in the Houston area.
You also got these nuts.
Yeah, sure. You got these nuts to go with it. So if you happen to be in our area, let us know if you're going to some of these shows. And who knows, maybe we'll pop up at a couple of them.
Yeah.
So,
hey, did we talk about this last show about Jerry Lawler?
No, we did not.
Okay, so
and
that's
that is
topic.
that broke. I want to say Wednesday after we recorded the show. It was reported that Jerry the King Lawler and his girlfriend or fiance or whatever she is, they were involved in some sort of altercation that required the cops to come out, and they were both arrested or brought in for questioning for what is it?
Disturbance. There's
domestic
violence
or something like that. Disturbance. I don't know. But Jerry Lawler was suspended indefinitely from the WWE because
he's going to be fired.
Domestic abuse. They're
going to look into it.
Oh yes, absolutely. And people were saying that alcohol was a key factor in it. I know Jim Ross came out and said, "Well, Jerry Lawler doesn't drink, so if that's the case, it was on the girlfriend / fiance or whoever it was." And according to Jerry Lawler, she came home drunk, and anytime she's drunk, they get into a big argument, and so that happened to be the case this time.
I don't know what's the deal or whatever, but that's a big thing for Jim Ross to come out and say that, you know. And then if that's the case, and that woman just ruined that guy's job, and that's a big job too,
That's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
I mean, domestic violence is never a good thing. And I hope that they're able to sort this out, and I hope that a guy like Lawler isn't the kind of person who would be violent like that, because he had just come home from a wrestling show, and then she came home after, I guess, a night of partying or something, and they just had an altercation. So I know.
I see a picture of this lady.
Yeah,
see what she looks like.
I know a judge has issued a statement saying that they're to be separated from one another. Keep your distance from one another.
Get your shit out of my apartment.
Until I guess the investigation is over. Yeah. So really, really tough. I'm curious to see what's going to happen on SmackDown. I mean, obviously you got Byron and Morrow. So will they add a third person? We don't know. I mean, he was already replaced by Lita on the Money in the Bank
You're moving
kickoff
up Corey
panel.
Graves.
Yeah, maybe. So we'll have to see how it all plays out. But that's going to do it for the show this week. Make sure to weigh in on our questions from earlier on our YouTube channel, WNS Video, also our Facebook page, WNS Podcast. Check us out on WrestlingNewsSource.com and WrestlingNewsSource.com on Facebook. Subscribe to our show on iTunes by searching Wrestling News Source Podcast.
Check us on that shit.
Shit.
We're on Stitcher, BeyondPodPlayer.fm. Just search Wrestling News Source Podcast to find us.
There you go. You can also follow us on Twitter at WNS Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at WNS_Daniel. You can follow Tyler at Tyler_Abear. So for the podcast crew, I am Daniel Heron.
I am the one, Tyler Abear.
And we will catch you all next week.
Cheer!